Well, up next, viewers, we're getting some shocking visuals from Ukraine, where in fact the Russian troops are seen looting stores in Ukraine, and we can see those visuals very, very clearly now. These are visuals from an area in Ukraine where the Russian troops had been rapidly moving in, and of course there are civilians who had been seen fleeing without their possessions with them. And now we see the Russian troops going and barging into those shops that had been left behind and looting them as well. Aishwarya Kapoor and Abhishek Kapoor continue to join us. Aishwarya, talk to us more about these visuals. Now the Russian troops not just targeting the civilians, not just targeting public infrastructure, now coming into the isolated shops that had been left behind by the civilians and pilfering them.
Well, these are visuals of the shop, Abhishek, which are on air as we speak. These are visuals of, seems to be, of a grocery store, which also gives medical supplies. And the Russian troops are literally looting it off. They are taking off clothes, they are taking off whatever they want. It's a grocery store, it's a departmental store, which is being looted by the Russian army. But this is a normal stuff. We are talking about war. We are talking about war in Europe. We are talking about Russia versus the world. Russia versus the Europe, Russia versus the Americans. And this is exactly what happens in a war. This is exactly what happens in a war, and these visuals are self-explanatory of the ground reality, Abhishek, of what exactly is prevailing in Ukraine, whether it's Lviv, Kyiv or Kharkiv, whichever cities. Yes.
I have to also clarify.
Please.
That earlier the video that we showed of a girl confronting a soldier was actually, it's our mistake that we used it immediately because so many videos are coming.
Yeah.
It's of 2015 and from some different theater, not from Ukraine and Russia, so that stands corrected. We're not going to use that video again. Similarly, in this video, we are getting it again from sources that are putting in an open space, and we are trying to analyze them real time. We don't know whether these are Russian soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, and it's till that time that we really clarify. What we have to tell the viewers is that this is the situation on the ground. This is what is happening. Things are open, people are running helter-skelter, people are trying to escape, even Ukrainians are at their borders towards west trying to escape into Poland and Romania and Slovakia and Hungary, and they have left their commercial spaces, their residences. Now whether these soldiers are getting in from the Ukrainian side, Russian side and trying to take stuff because there is nobody else to claim. Obviously in a fog of war, there is absolute chaos, there is no ownership, and there is martial law. There is curfew. It's an unprecedented situation.
We are talking about war in Europe. We are talking about America, British, France, Italy, Germany sending in supplies to Ukraine. So if they are not actively participating, if they are not actively sending in their soldiers, as you were just mentioning, 350 million line of credit by the Americans to the Ukrainian, Abhishek. So that will ultimately result in the supply of weapons, in the supply of weaponry, in the supply of artillery. So practically speaking, it's Russia versus the Americans, it's Russia versus the world at this point of time. Europe is at war, and this is what happens in war. Only people lose. And this is something which the Russians and the Ukrainians both at this point of time need to understand. So there was this breaking news few minutes prior that there could be talks in Belarus. Ukrainians have rejected. They are ready, Abhishek, to have a dialogue in Warsaw, that is Poland, but not in Belarus, not in any other country. They are only in agreement to have talks in Poland, which is a NATO ally. So they are very cynical about it. They are not trusting the Russian leadership at all. They want them to come in a NATO country and then have a dialogue. And for that, will Vladimir Putin accept? But by that time, these visuals are self-explanatory of the army personnel. And as Abhishek was just mentioning, whether it's the Ukrainian or the Russian soldier, the clarity needs to come on that. But it's soldiers looting the stores in cities of Ukraine. And such similar visuals are coming in not only from Kharkiv, but also from Kyiv and the other neighboring cities as well. Yes, Abhishek.
Aishwarya, we continue this conversation on what's happening there on the ground, but then let's take a look at the wrap of whatever we are getting by way of reports from ground on Russia and Ukraine. Be right back.